Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Medicom Mafex Avengers Infinity War movie Thor figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini Mayfield fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
And a quick look at the left side of the box. You can see the Avengers Infinity War logo. Right above that is the Marvel logo. And then you can see a picture of Thor. And on the opposite side, more of the same, the Avengers Infinity logo. Down below the picture of the figure, you can see the Mafex logo, number 104, and it says Thor action figure at the very bottom. Let's get this bad boy open, see what's what. All right, here we go. Avengers Infinity War Thor. This is actually like a 2-for-1 here from Mafex because Thor had 2 looks during the movie. One of the greatest movies of all time from the comic book genre, by the way. Shitting on DC. And usually with Mafex, when they do these sort of features where you could upgrade or add on to a figure that was already purchased, they do it between 2 or 3 different figure releases. So it was nice to get the 2-for-1 here in one package. We're going to go through all of that. My initial reaction of the figure out of the package is pretty nice. So we actually doing this in reverse because this was his look during the second half of the movie when he got his power upgrade after he got his new hammer Stormbreaker, and this was a really cool look for Thor. I think one of the best on-screen looks for him, and I think Mafex did a really good job here. Initially, I wasn't really sold on this head sculpt. It looks better in hand. They didn't quite nail the likeness of Chris Hemsworth, but it's decent. It's not bad. And I'm interested in comparing it to the S.H.Figuarts version, which I think was very good as well. I think that's where that particular figure shined. But we in a war of the lines here between SHF and Mafex. And Mafex has been edging SHF out, I think. So just taking a good look at the deco before we start to swap on some accessories. Mostly black here with a few silver highlights. Again, I think this is one of the best movie looks for Thor. It probably is the best movie look. And they did a good job on the cape, which has bendy wire, which is great. I'll get into that shortly. What looks a little odd to me is these little portions that are like, I don't know if they're supposed to be weathered or this is supposed to be the electricity starting to rise up here on these little points, but I don't know if the SHF version was like that. I think the SHF version was just all black. I don't know how I feel about that. Another thing I really don't like about Mafex is how their hands connect to the forearm. The wrist joint is always exposed. I hate the way that looks. But clean. Pretty damn clean. Also think they did a good job capturing Hemsworth's body type. That upper torso looks spot on, I think. I think they may have messed up just a little bit in the pelvic area, the lower legs. It does look like his body type. Something about this area looks a little diaperish though. So out of the package, he comes with 2 open hands with the fingers close together. And there's a look at those wrist pegs. He's got a set of hands that are open with the fingers spread. He's got a set that are open but cupped. And obviously these can be utilized to hold his weapon. He's got a set of fists that come already attached to the other upper torso that you can use to swap on to give him the look from early on in the movie. And obviously you're going to share all of the hands between the 2 looks. But there is powered up Thor with the fist on. And there's that. So you can see the bendy wire at work there. The wire is just through the outside lining of the cape. So just here, down this side and down the opposite side. But it's enough to work for sure. Yeah, that lower torso looks a little odd. The pelvic area down to the legs looks just a little odd. I could deal with it. I'm not really mad about it, but you know, something there has me squinting for sure. And he's also packed in with Stormbreaker, which looks great. And we know that was forged by Peter Dinklage's character, and then Groot put the handle on it during the movie, and that was a cool moment. Don't fret, you can actually remove this part if you just want the hammer without any effects on it. So that was a nice touch for you to be able to put that on, and obviously you can utilize this effect with other figures from Mafex or from any other line. So I thought that was great. It is soft plastic, and this looks very good. And there he is holding the hammer. No issues getting it into his hands. His fingers are soft, pliable plastic, so it's easy to just pop the handle right in there. And he's got a firm grip. That looks great. Yeah, I already see this is going to be a problem. This is popping out before it's time. I'm not ready for this to come out, but it keeps popping off when I'm trying to articulate his lower torso. I was just trying to get him in another pose. I will say that the lower torso, the gaps and the little spots that you can, little sweet spots that you can find to plug up a A.C.B.A flight stand is great. And that pelvic area is like a soft plastic too. You can actually squeeze it. Pause. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just annoyed by this little piece here. And then aside from the neutral head sculpt, he's packed in with a couple more. And the head actually detaches at 2 points, even though you only need to pull the head from the neck to swap on the other heads. But this may have some swapping potential between figures, other figures from the Mafex line. We'll see what happens here, but I'm going to plug this back into the upper torso and get the other head on. And there's the additional head sculpt with the whited out eyes. And I think I like this one better than the neutral head sculpt. It looks pretty damn good. I think the likeness is actually better on this one for some reason. I don't know why that is, but this is when he went nuts in Wakanda and showed his true power. And these damn things are getting on my nerves, but you are supposed to pop these out so you can change in one more of his effects. So you're going to have to be careful with these lower ones because they're very small and you will lose them. But let me try to get these out and get his last effects in there. I got all of the bulbs out and I didn't realize there was another effect here. Didn't realize there was a little effect part that you could actually put on the back and the front. I wasn't paying attention. So obviously if he's striking, this is a great effect to have if you have him in a striking pose in a display or something like that. So again, each of these are detachable. You can use it for Mafex or for any other figures. And then there's another lower clamshell that has all of the bulbs with the little electric effects on them that you can plug in to the spots on his torso, or should I say lightning effects. It looks like they're arranged in a package from largest to smallest, just like they are arranged or should be arranged on his torso, so that's easy. It should be noted that each little lightning effect has a shape. So you're going back to preschool here, and then you'll just plug it in to his torso according to the shape. So the two at the top of the clamshell were definitely the two that you needed to plug into the top of his torso, but they were reversed. Just to make a note of that. That's looking cool. And these are all a soft pliable plastic as well. So there's all the torso parts plugged in, and this is very cool. Good job, Mafex. This was a really nice touch. But there is more. There's actually two more parts that can be slipped onto both of his wrists, like so. And there's that. There's everything working in tandem, and that's fire, man. Can't front. S.H.F ain't fucking with this, man. They can't mess with this this little feature on the figure, man. They did a really nice job with this. So it is a bit of a challenge to get everything working in tandem and to get all the parts in there and make them stay. But when you get it and it's good, it's good. But moving forward and backtracking at the same time, let's go ahead and switch out the parts and get him powered down for his look earlier in the movie. And boom, second look, which was actually the first look. And again, Mafex, I think they hit a home run as far as the playability here, the fun factor with this figure. I'll get you a closer look at this head sculpt, but a couple things to note. If you got sausage fingers, man, just forget about this figure. Because trying to put these little bulbs in and keep them in and this and that, it is kind of a pain in the ass. And the other thing is the head, when it attaches to the neck, is in there so tight. It is very hard for you to detach the head from the neck and swap the heads. So that is an issue. And that's been an issue with a few different Mafex figures. I had that same issue with my Mafex Spider-Man, the comic-based Mafex Spider-Man. And there's a good look at this head sculpt with the eye patch. You know, he had lost his eye during Thor Ragnarok. And at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, when the Guardians of the Galaxy found him floating in space, you know, he hadn't received a new eye yet, and that was a little funny little thing that happened between him and Rocket. All right, let's go over his articulation. So real quick, probably easier to go over his articulation with this particular look. So the head is on a ball joint. The head and neck are separate, so the neck can move independently and then the head can move on the neck. You get pivot left to right, no issues there. Shoulders on a ball joint. You also have a butterfly joint there. You can do a full 360. There's an upper bicep swivel. There's a double jointed elbow. a swivel, and a hinge on the wrist. You get upper torso articulation separate from the lower abdomen, and you get more in the lower abdomen as well. You can get him to go back just about that far, forward that far. I lost one of the bulbs. I see he can turn left to right at the waist. This is the area that I find a little troubling, the way it looks. You can get his leg up pretty far. A split will look like that. There is some rotation at the upper thigh. Not quite a double jointed knee. I wish the knee could actually bend more, but you do get a hinge and a swivel, a pivot on the foot, and a toe joint as well. So decent articulation. I do kind of wish the lower abdomen could crunch down a bit more, but you can get it, and you see that separates. But yeah, you can push it to the limit and it'll separate once you do. It's easy to pop this upper half off as well to swap out, so you got to be careful with all of that. And obviously if you wanted to do this, you could. All right, here we go. Size comparison time. On the far left is the Mafex Justice League Batman. In fact, everything here is Mafex. Now, how glorious it would have been to have a wired cape on that Mafex Batman. He would have been money. And then going right is the Avengers Infinity War Black Panther, which is a very good figure from Mafex. I had some complaints about the arm to the arm to body ratio, or the length of his arms looked a little weird, but quite a few people pointed out that Chadwick Boseman's arms are very long and his body type is very similar to what they have here. So I'm gonna leave that alone. And then we have the Avengers Infinity War Iron Spider. You can see how he stacks up next to Thor. I don't know. That might be right. I think he probably could have been a little taller. And then on the far right is the Mafex John Wick. I don't remember if this was the second movie, I think, or the third. I don't know. It's the one that came with the dog. But yeah, I'm starting to think that Thor is a little short, and let's test that theory. All right, this is very interesting. The Mafex figure is shorter than the S.H.Figuarts figure. So on the left is the S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Fat Thor, or Bro Thor as Hasbro called him. And on the right is the Avengers Infinity War Thor. And you can see the issue with the pelvic area of the Mafex Thor. It just looks really odd in comparison to S.H.F. I think S.H.F. Did a much better job in the lower torso, but Mafex did a better job in the upper torso as far as Chris Hemsworth's build. And taking a good look at both of these head sculpts side by side, I don't know who has the edge. They both are decent. But maybe S.H.F. still has the edge. I'm not sure yet. I gotta look at this myself. Look at the video, play the video back and look. I think I like the hair on the S.H.F. version better, and the way the beard looks. But the skin tone, I think, of Mafex is better. I think S.H.F. has the edge. And like I mentioned about these little bulbous parts here, I don't know what's going on, why Mafex did this. I guess I don't know why they did that. I don't think it was like that in the movie. I'm gonna have to throw a gif in here or go back and look, but I prefer the look of just the plain black version on the S.H.F. And again, taking a close look at that lower torso, and this looks like a diaper. I don't like that. Mafex definitely has the better cape because they have the bendy wire, but the S.H.F. cape was still very nice. Both of the S.H.F. Capes were still very nice in the way that they sit and the way they look, the feel, the material. But bendy wire is going to take it for sure. Here's a look at those two head sculpts side by side. And one final size comparison, and I'm going to get up out of here. Now, I don't normally do this. This is a little sneak peek because I haven't reviewed this figure yet. But on the left is the S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Final Battle Captain America. And on the right is the S.H.F. Mark 85 Iron Man. I have the Final Battle Iron Man as well. I'll be taking a look at both of those. But the S.H.F. figures seem to scale better with Thor here. And he still seems short because the S.H.F. version is a little taller. So that's kind of weird. Mafex can be all over the place with their scale sometimes. So, you know, I got a little issue with keeping the sort of bulbous parts in place and swapping out some of the parts, especially the head from the neck. It is excruciating to try to pull that out. My thumbs are burning. And I don't know what they did here with the height. And the pelvic area is a little weird, but still, I really do still like this figure. Now, we are supposed to be getting the Endgame Captain America from Mafex. They have yet to tease or show us Endgame Iron Man. And if they do, which I'm sure they will, then we'll be able to complete the big three from Mafex. We're already there. We're already there with SHF. So SHF has the slight edge as far as that's concerned. I do know that Mafex actually showed early images of their sort of fat Thor as well. So we'll see how that works out. But this is a decent figure. If only for the effects and the fun factor alone, it's one that I would recommend that you check out. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell down there. And until next time, peace.